Yes, this is Addingham, and the title picture shows Addingham with Wharfdale stretching north past Bolton Abbey to Buckton. This was taken from Addingham High Moor, which is adjacent to Ilkley Moor. Now I'll take you on a quick tour of the village, but it's sad that so many buildings and activities are currently closed due to the dreaded coronavirus. At the end of the 18th century, Addingham was transformed from being a small farming village into a busy mill town by the construction of 5 mills and other textile works. This is Main Street, which runs more or less east-west, with Ilkley 3 miles to the east and Skipton about 7 miles west. As you can see, we still have some shops, and this central part of the village is protected by a conservation area. There are 120 listed buildings in the village in total. This view has changed very little over the years, as can be seen from this 120-year-old photo, except for the railway bridge lower down. The railway ran from Ilkley to Skipton, but, like so many, was closed and the bridge removed in the 1960s. On the left, past the shops, is the Swan pub, which is now just doing takeaway meals, next to the old school, which has recently been refurbished by the parish council and now has the new village hub upstairs above the community library, which is run by volunteers. This building has one of 13 blue plaques fixed by the Civic Society on notable village buildings. This fountain garden next to the old school was one of a number of small gardens looked after by the Addingham Garden Friends volunteers. Addingham is very well supported by volunteer groups, including the Good Neighbours Group, the COVID Support Group, and the Addingham Visor Army, making visors for care workers. In front of the fountain is a caterpillar of painted stones in support of the NHS and the carers. This yard was repaved by the Civic Society some years ago. Beyond where the bridge used to be are the Crown Pub and Mount Hermon Wesleyan Reform Chapel, built in 1861, also with a blue plaque, at the bottom of Bolton Road, which runs north up to the Dales National Park, 3 miles away at Bolton Abbey. Backtracking slightly, we follow the route of the railway up Old Station Way. This green area at the top is being made into a wildflower meadow by the Civic Society's Environment Group, together with many other environmental improvements and projects around the village. Opposite here, alongside Mount Pleasant, is the embankment that once held the signal box opposite Addingham railway station. At the other end of Mount Pleasant is the football pavilion, with the Scout headquarters behind it, and the football field, which in normal July would be transformed into the village gala with all the fun of the fair. Just below the football field are the Mugger multi-use games area, sadly now locked as you can see, and children's playground. Both of these were built by the Civic Society, as was this new petanque court near the War Memorial and the bowling green. This land was given to the village by mill owner, the first Lord Bassam, in 1919. On the other side of the car park is our new medical centre and pharmacy, which are behind the Memorial Hall, which is normally the venue of numerous meetings, concerts, drama, film nights, coffee mornings, etc., etc., etc. This was originally the primitive Methodist chapel, as can be seen from the frontage, and is another blue plaque building. Opposite here, across Main Street, is the oldest of our 5 pubs, the Fleece. The magistrates used to sit here, and the village stocks were close by. Addingham was known as the village of 5 mills to work in, 5 churches to pray in, and 5 pubs to booze in. That's what I call a pretty balanced community. We still have 4 churches and 5 pubs, unfortunately all now closed, but no working mills. Down the lane, to the left of the Co-op food store, is the sawmill. This was built around 1796 as a textile mill, but run as a sawmill for 160 years, all by the same family, and looked like this in the 1900s. The water wheel was fed from the dam, now the village duck pond. Addingham also has been known as the village of ducks. The mill has now been rebuilt as housing. Turning left down Church Street, near the cricket pitch, we come to our lovely parish church of St. Peter. Again locked at the moment, but can I hear echoes of better times? We're now close to the river wharf and go down steps from North Street, past the suspension bridge and alongside the river to the oldest of Addingham's mills, High Mill, which looked like this in the 1960s. An ancient corn mill, it was extended at the end of the 18th century for cotton spinning, but again is now housing. Up High Mill Lane and down Bolton Road past the primary school, we turn right along Backbeck Lane beside Manor Garth to Bridge 55, the best preserved of the village railway bridges. Further along the lane, at the top of Chapel Street, is what used to be the Wesleyan Methodist Chapel, with its school opposite. The old chapel is now housing, and the original school has now become the church and church hall. At the bottom of Chapel Street, we're back to where we started on Main Street, but just round the corner is Burnside Mill, built in 1886. So, that was a very brief virtual tour around Addingham, and I hope that before too long you'll be able to visit in person and learn more about our lovely village. That is, when things get back to something approaching normal. Thanks for watching.